I think a lot of newbie authors who have published before are willing to find any agent. They just want somebody who's going to like their work. But you really have to caution yourself against doing that and find the right agent for you, it sounds like.
Well, and again, one way to do that is find the writers you like who are successful and find out who their agents are and find out if they're taking clients or if they know somebody who is. You know, agents want to find new clients. They want to find new writers who are going to make money. You know, that's what they do.
Sure.
They're not there to, you know, kick you down the stairs.
Well, now I've got a copy of Vicki's book, Miami Purity, here as well. But there's a famous story too, or a semi-famous story, that Bill Clinton actually requested a signed copy of Iguana Love. Tell us about that story and former President Bill Clinton.
Well, I can't remember the names, which is probably good, I don't know. But someone wrote to me and asked me for a copy for Bill Clinton. And I think it came through my publisher. I think they let me know about it. It's forwarded the mail or whatever. And that was it. I signed it, sent it to the address on Pennsylvania Avenue, and then I don't know how this happened. Somebody I knew, I guess, knew a reporter who then interviewed me, and it was in the Miami Herald or I don't know, the Fort Lauderdale Sun Sentinel, I'm not sure. And you know, they did it in quite a joking way. But I asked him to, you know, get more money for community colleges when I inscribed it, and I had to hold back from saying anything about a cigar. I was very tempted.
Or including,
go on, go ahead.
But I did get a signed letter back from him thanking me for the book.
That's very
So
nice. It's a
fun.
great story.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's on my website if you want to see it written a little more clearly.
And what's your website address?
VickiHendricks.com.
And JD, you've got a website as well. What
Right, jdrhoades.com. Remember, there's an A in there, RHOADES. So.
Now, Vicki, you settled on selling your novels on your own without a literary agent most recently, right?
Well, not exactly. The last two agents didn't sell it to anyone outside of the people that I had already asked. I had already had an offer from Serpent's Tail on both of them. And when it came time to send the novel out, I don't know, they just couldn't think of anybody that might want it. So my theory here is that because after the first novel I haven't made a lot of money, the agents really don't want to put a lot of time into, you know, sending my books around, and I can't blame them, actually. So I don't want to, you know, say anything bad about the last couple of agents that I've had, because I don't really know. You know, maybe they really searched, you know, and just nobody was interested in my very graphic sexual noir. I did get letters in the past when one agent I had sent out to a lot of people, and they were glowing, you know, answers, but they said, we don't have an audience for this. So, you know, maybe that's it. It's just a very small audience.
Well, maybe there's an advantage in that as well, it sounds like.
What do you think that is?
There's not an audience for sex? Wait a minute. What is
Apparently not. And in fact, I've just gotten rejected almost from a place in Alaska for BoucherCon. I was supposed to do something for a high school there, and they're afraid that the students will find my work.
We'll actually read it, yes. Yeah.
Yes. And for some reason, my website comes in as pornography is blocked at their library. So I think it might be Ken Bruin's blurb, but I'm not sure. I have to check it out.
Isn't that funny, though, censorship and the way that works? Novels like The Grapes of Wrath now seem like so innocent and classic, but at the time when it came out, people were burning the book. I mean, literally, we're getting in streets and piling it up and burning it.
There are still people who try to ban it, though, and there are people who try to ban Huckleberry Finn. You know, the censorship impulse is always among us, and, you know, always has to be fought.
I think with a little bit of time and objectivity, you know, we tend to come to our senses about these things, it seems like to me anyways. Well, let's talk a little bit in these closing few minutes that we have here about advice that you would give to writers You've been published with St. Martin's Press. You've had the 3 Jack Keller novels out now, the most recent Safe and Sound. JD, what advice would you give to a writer who finds out tomorrow that he's going to have 2 books come out in the next 2 years? What advice would you give to them, say, for the year leading up to publication and then in the year following publication? What kinds of things can a writer do?
Well, I mean, after you sober up from celebrating, I mean, obviously go out and celebrate and have a really good time because you've just reached a huge milestone. You have climbed on top of, you know, a big plateau. But the second thing I would say is that to realize that your work is just beginning. You then have to start building on that. You have to, a lot of folks, you know, you have to do a lot of your own promotion. You've got to go out and promote your book. Sometimes the publishers will fund that and give you a lot of help with it. Sometimes you're pretty much on your own with it. You've got to go out and get the book out into the public eye while the publisher's trying to get into the bookstores. The good news is it's a lot more fun than trying to, you know, trying to get an agent and trying to get a publisher, trying to get the book promoted. You get to go out, you get to meet people. It's, that's the fun part of the work. But the work is just beginning, and that, and you've also got to keep writing. You've got to write. You got to write your next book. You know, you have your whole lifetime to write your first one, as they say, and then they want the next one next year. So, you know, the hard work is just beginning, but it's also the fun work. That's the first piece of advice I'd give. Second piece of advice I would give is, and this is one that was really imparted to me by one of my favorite writers, one of my favorite people, Laura Lippman, who I met at a conference, and we had a very, very illuminating conversation, which basically boiled down to take the long view. It takes a while sometimes to build an audience, and it takes a while to build a readership and to get to the place where she is. You know, Laura, I think it's like her 11th book, and it's her first New York Times bestseller. So that was really helpful advice that she gave to me that I'll pass along, is take the long view.
Sure. Being involved in the professional community, going to conventions is
Right.
absolutely, you know, crucial and integral, I think, to being accepted by the community and being
Sure.
a part of it.
And they'll give you good advice most of the time.
Great. Well, I'd like to thank both J.D. Rhoades and Vicki Hendricks for being here today. It's been a great conversation. Check out J.D. Rhoades' Safe and Sound, which is on bookshelves now, and Vicki Hendricks' Miami Purity, which has just been re-released. I'm your host, Stacey Cochran. For all of us here at RTN Channel 10, I'd like to thank you for tuning in with us today, and have a great evening. Thanks. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.